Hello and welcome. I'm Ben Paris from AnswerSource, and I'm here to talk to you about principles of assessment. We all agree that we need to know what works. We need to know who has achieved the relevant learning objectives and who hasn't gotten there yet. For these reasons and others, we all know that we need high-quality assessments. But writing those high-quality assessments is very, very difficult. People who have succeeded in writing in general often have a real hard time when it comes to writing assessments. And that's why at AnswerSource we are especially selective when it comes to hiring people to write assessments for us. But even after we hire fantastic people, we put them through a rigorous training program to make sure that they hit our standards. Now, what I'm going to do now is tell you some of the principles that we start with when we give them that program, and these are AnswerSource's principles of assessment. First off, focus on the learner. We know at all times that there's going to be real people on the end of these questions. You know, that when we write them, someone is going to be struggling with them, and we have to be fair to that person. We have to give that person a fair chance. And, you know, no one likes to be taking tests, pretty much. But everyone can tell the difference between a good test and a bad test. We've all been there ourselves when there's been a test that's been arbitrary or subjective or unclear. We remember how that felt for ourselves, and we don't want to inflict that experience on anyone else. So focusing on the learner is the first thing that we want to think about when we build our own assessments. And we also want to focus on the instructor, because whereas the individual learner is exposed to, say, a bad question, say, once, an instructor with a huge class could be hit with that question over and over and over again, as every single student complains about it. So that instructor who just wants a fair way to measure whether the students have realized their appropriate learning objectives, you know, that's someone that we have to defend as well. So how do we look out for those people? Well, one of the things that we have to do is we have to make sure that we're testing relevant skills. Whatever the appropriate objective is, we have to make sure it matches up. Sometimes testing memorization is totally within bounds. You know, it's okay in history to see if people know dates and things like that. But if an objective is testing evaluation or something higher level than that, then the question that we write has to get at that kind of skill. So testing the relevant skill is one part of the process, but that's not enough. You also need to be clear. We need to not just mean what we say, but we need to say what we mean. There should be no reasonable interpretation of the questions that leads to any answer other than the one we indicate. And as a related issue, we also want to be fair. Our questions should be free from gender, religious, or other kinds of bias. And we don't want to make assumptions about how people think. We don't want to force them to think the way we do in order to get the right answer. It has to be fair. And finally, the questions have to be meaningful. And by that, the answers to those questions should reveal something important about the skill level or the knowledge of the individuals who are taking the test. So if everyone gets the question wrong, then that tells you nothing about their abilities because everyone else gets it wrong. If everyone gets it right, then it's too easy. And again, it would tell you nothing about their abilities because everyone gets it right. So the questions have to be hard enough that some people are going to get them wrong and some people are going to get them right, but who? A really well-designed question is such that the people who get it right are the people who know the material best. And that is the essence of a meaningful question. So these are the principles of assessment. And while applying them is still way easier said than done, framing the issues is an important first step.